26, 2016, the Vergne Planning Commission. Do you have a quorum? Our first item of business is to approve the December 29th, 2015 meeting minutes. Review the minutes.
Make a motion to accept as submitted, Mr. Chairman.
The motion to accept is submitted. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
I have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
These minutes are approved. And at this time, I'd like to turn items 1, 2, and 3 over to the city attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Garvin. It's that time of year again to elect chairman or chairwoman for a one-year term to the Vergne Planning Commission. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and I'll open up the floor for a motion to nominate for that position.
I'd like to nominate Earl Garvin.
We have a nomination for Mr. Garvin. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Mr. Garvin, congratulations. I'm just going to go ahead and turn it back over to you as the chairperson, and you can run the motions for the next two positions.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, everyone. Our next item of business is a motion to elect the vice chairman for a one-year term.
I'd like to make a motion for Kenneth Perkins.
A motion for Kenneth Perkins. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Perkins, you are vice chairman for a one-year term. Our third item of business is motion to nominate the elect secretary for a one-year term.
I'd like to make a motion to maintain, re-elect Representative Coates.
I have a nomination for Mr. Coates. Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Coates, thank you for your 10 years of service and continue on.
Thank you.
All right, our first item of business under old business. Final plat of Sun Federal Credit Union requested by J. Flynn. Proposed two-lot subdivision and utility extension, 7.54 acres. Property located at 231 Walton Road, tax map 017, parcel 2.04, C2 Highway Services Commercial Zoning District. Property owned by Sun Federal Credit Union.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you know, we have looked at this final plat for a couple months now. The construction plans have been approved by the city engineer, and all the utility information that was in confusion previously has been addressed. So we have all of the technical items have been addressed at this time tonight.
Yes, he's going to do a public water line extension. So he's got that shown on the plat. You'll be able to see at the front of the lot an extension, and then right in front of lot 1 there's a fire hydrant also. So that took care of that comment also that we had.
I have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Our next item of business under old business is a site plan for a Sun Federal Credit Union requested by Jay Fulmer. Proposed 3,515 square foot financial institution with drive-through canopy, 1.85 acres, property located at 231 Waldron Road, tax map 017, parcel 2.04, C2 Highway Service Commercial Zoning District. Property owned by Sun Federal Credit Union. Mrs. Stanza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now that the final plat has been approved, that was basically the only technical item we had for this item. They did, Mr. Fulmer did again fix all of the utility information, supplied the required landscaping plan, the elevations and the signage detail since the workshop, so we have no technical items to address at this time.
Questions, members? Being said, I'll take a motion to approve or disapprove this item.
So moved.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? I have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion item is passed. Our next item of business is a site plan for A+ Storage of Tennessee, LLC, requested by Dean Design Group. Proposed 6 buildings, 123,125 square feet, self-storage facility on 7.5 acres. property located along New Paul Road, tax map 017, parcel 34, I-2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District, property owned by Manning Family Partners LP. Ms. Costanza?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In your packet, you have a deferral request from Mr. Dean. We have since received a revised plan submittal yesterday, which meets the deadline for the February agenda. So Mr. Dean would like to defer this to February.
With that deferral, we will move on to item number 7. Final plat Morales subdivision requested by Benito Morales, 2 proposed lots on 0.96 acres, property located at 147 Murray Lane, tax map 018P, Group D, parcel 8, R2 Medium Density Residential Zoning District, property owned by Benito Morales.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item was deferred last month. We had some comments pertaining to the access easement and the availability of parking for these 2 lots. Again, this is the roughly 1 acre parcel at 147 Murray that Mr. Morales wants to split into 2, and he is proposing to use a 50-foot access easement per the subdivision regulations to access Lot 2 in the rear. That will be unobstructed and unencumbered as a permanent access easement, which is recorded in the recorded as part of the plat in the courthouse, which will make it not a city issue should 2 owners have any kind of issue in the future with it. There's also been a note added pertaining to adequate spaces for 3 cars to park per lot per field observation and measurement, which was a concern because of the limited space and the requirement for three spaces per lot, which is in the zoning ordinance. So that has been added. We do not have any technical items to address at this time tonight, and Mr. Morales and his surveyor are here to answer any questions.
Very good. Do we have any questions from the board in regards to this? We didn't get to speak with Mr. Morales at the workshop, I don't believe. Questions or comments?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he's drawn it up, so he's the private ingress, egress set up, so obviously he understands that's been facilitated. So he understands the problems that may come up and may not.
Very good. Anyone else? With that being said, I'll take a motion to approve or disapprove this item.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion with all technical items being addressed that we approve this item at this time.
I have a motion to approve this submitted. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion passed. Our first item under new business, final plat, Homewood Estates, Section 1, combinations of Lot 5, 10, 11, and 12, requested by Steve Steele. Property located at 461 Walton Road, tax map 017J, Group A, parcel 24, 3.47 acres, C2 Highway Services Commercial Zoning District. Property owned by BGS America LLC. Ms. Costanza?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The only item we had to deal with tonight was the granting of the variance for the rear encroachment of the 2 northern buildings. The Board of Zoning Appeals did approve that variance earlier this evening, so we have no technical items to address.
I have one matter for order here. Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I apologize. One moment. I'm seeing 3.47 and 3.38, but 3.38 on the submittal and on the agenda 3.47.
Yes, sir. I see that as well.
I do see that. I think it was, I'm sure it was my fault. It's 3.47 acres.
47. Thank you.
Another problem, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to accept this submitted.
I have a motion to accept as submitted. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Our next item of business, 9, final plat, Centerpoint re-subdivision of Lot 14 and utility extension requested by Little John Engineering. two proposed lots on 61 acres. Property located along Center Point Drive, tax map 029, parcel 1.08, I-2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District. Property owned by CPDC Holdings. Ms. Costanza?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You will see stapled in your packet for items 9, 10, and 11, which is the final plat, and then the site plan for 14 and 16. All three of those are requesting deferral to the next agenda due to the inability to get the letter from TDEC in the required amount of time. They're still working out the language of that agreement, I believe, and so it has not been executed, lodged, etc. So for the purposes of the city, they needed to defer this item.
Very good. So we're deferring 9, 10, and 11 and moving on to 12. Number 12, site plan 3 Oaks, lot 3, request by Kimley Horn Associates, two proposed warehouses totaling 225,660 square feet on 16 acres, property located at 349 Mason Road, tax map 017, parcel 16.3, I-2, Heavy Industrial Zoning District, property owned by LIT Finance III LLC. Ms. Costanza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had very few items to address at the workshop. Most of them had to do with drainage. And after discussion since the workshop, all of the items have been addressed at this time.
Very good. Now I'll take a motion to approve or disapprove this item.
Chair, with all 8 items being addressed, I'll make a motion to accept this.
A motion to accept. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is approved. Our next item of business, number 13, final plat, Waldron Business Park, re-subdivision of Lot 2, requested by Matt Taylor, on 8.4 acres, property located along Waldron Road at the intersection with International Boulevard, tax map 017, parcel 2.12 and 5.01, C2 Highway Service Commercial Zoning District, and I-2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District, property owned by Charlie B. Mitchellman. Ms. Costanza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This plat has been amended, well, it's been amended to address the items that we required after the workshop. They have now shown the entirety of the lot that they were taking acreage from. This was to increase Lot 2. They've also increased the size of Lot 3 because it did not have a fire hydrant within 500 feet based on the way it was previously drawn up. And actually, after discussion, all of the technical items have been addressed.
Very good. Do you have any questions or comments? We didn't have much discussion on this one either.
Yeah, just one for staff. So the relocation of the cemetery access, so the people have access to the cemetery. Is that clear and defined?
The cemetery access wasn't moving from where it was relocated last time. Now there is a sewer easement. I'm not sure if maybe that's what you're looking at.
Well, I just want to make sure that people have access to the cemetery.
That relocated cemetery access easement was made permanent and recorded with the last subdivision of the Waldron Business Park. So it's not being affected.
And this does not include Lot 3, so Lot 3 has been taken out of this, correct? Lot 3 is not part of the request. There's some discussion about Lot 3 and Lot 2 during the workshop.
They've increased both 2 and 3. Before, 3 was a lot smaller previously, and they've now increased the size of it as well, so that it originally had a really small connection to Waldron, but they have he has significantly widened.
So then we're changing Lot 2 and 3 dimensions,
Yes.
but they're only asking final plat for Lot 2. So what do they plan to come in for Lot 3?
I suppose you're talking about the title, saying the re-subdivision of 2 and it's 2 in the remaining area. I suppose it could say 2 and 3 to be more clear. It initially was just 2. But that's what it was supposed to be. At the last minute, he did actually make 3 its own lot. at the workshop. It has since been increased in size. So it probably should say the re-subdivision of lot 2 and 3, if that would make it more clear.
What was that? Is the applicant here? Can we talk about that?
He is, or a representative from SEC is here, yes.
Could you please step to the podium, sir, and state your name and address for the record? What did the original application state? Just lot 2?
Basically, what
Yes.
they was trying to do is make lot 2 larger,
Right.
and they was taking from the remaining parcel and to get that extra acreage, or,
They were taking it from 3?
right, they was taking it from what they was calling the remaining area.
Right, we made them call it
Now,
a lot number.
When
because-
they did that, if you remember from the workshop, we had 3 lots and the remaining area. So we had lot 1, lot 2, as you see today, and then lot 3 was basically at the workshop was
Remaining, future lands.
near that cemetery, there's another property line. Okay, we had told them, one of the comments from the workshop was to make sure that you have a fire hydrant within 500 foot of lot 3. Well, that was 577 feet whenever they went back and looked at the survey, so they decided they needed to delete that property line because that, with the property, the way they had it subdivided then would not work with our regs. They would end up having to add another hydrant, which
Right.
would put them at preliminary plat and everything else again. And their intent of this whole plat is to make lot 2 larger. So what they did is just deleted the property line and did away with, which essentially they either was gonna do away with lot 3, but instead they just did away with the property line and made lot 3 larger. They took lot 3 and made it the remaining lands plus what lot 3 that you seen at the workshop.
Which
By
made,
the
That's why there's 2
77
sheets,
by the
yeah.
77 feet. Okay.
Right.
which made lot 3 conform to all the
Because the
rules and
fire hydrant
regulations.
now is right there in front of you.
So lot 3 is the little bit you see on sheet 1 and the entirety of sheet 2. So it's a little bit over 25 acres now. And that was originally just called remaining lands. It hadn't been platted before, which is why we made them show the entirety, because it's now being platted.
And if you look at the general notes, under note 1, it says the purpose of this final plat is to re-subdivide lot 2, adding more area to lot 2 from parcel 5.01 and to create lot 3.
Right.
So that's, I know the title seems confusing, but I think the title was kind of left over from their original submittal, which they was calling remaining lands, which that's where we had a comment at the workshop to make note 1 more clear, because we had, it basically just said it created lot 2. Well, they was
Yeah.
creating lot 3 also.
Yeah.
And that's where,
And we didn't know how much acreage was coming from which lot and what was left over, so we made them create lot 3 as its own new lot.
Okay. I think I understand that.
Yeah, it's actually a very minor, minor subdivision, but it is a little confusing, so.
But it obviously want to make sure the motion encompass for, when they register this and sign it, saying that they understand it's lot 1 and 3 really is on there.
correct it. And if what you wanted to do, since the title was left over and this really wasn't a comment, if y'all want the title to state re-subdivision of lot 2 and 3,
We can put that on the
you know,
Mylar.
we can make sure that's on the Mylar that's get recorded, if that's what you want.
I think from your perspective, that's what you need.
Okay.
Would you not agree? Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the final plat of section 1 of Walden Business Park, which includes lot 2 and lot 3.
I have a motion to accept
I
the
make a-
plat.
Okay.
Let's pause for a second, Mr.
I
Jones.
have a question. I mean, before, the motion was standing. Graham, if we could, I understand your motion, but in order to get it in proper lineage and with your assistance, city attorney, can he resubmit the motion as stated, instead of saying in our general notes, adding more area, can we define lot 3? Because I don't see lot 3 anywhere on here. Well, and it says, and to create lot 3. So if we can just take that added more area out, it would be less confusing to me.
I understand what you're saying, but see, they've got lot 3 on page 2. It's the header. This is what's going to get recorded.
Yeah.
So you've got page 1 and page 2, which is going to get recorded. That's why I just want to keep it as section 1, because that's where the header comes from.
Okay.
At a later date, if there's an
Receive of lot
issue,
2 and 3.
they can take these minutes and say, they approved section 1 and these 2 sheets of paper.
Okay, and with that explanation, I second the motion.
Just, you go ahead.
Do you understand we're doing that? Yeah?
And you might, just for safekeeping, so that's in the minutes, I would recommend amending your motion. It might need another second to do what Mr. Brown said about changing the title on
Mylar.
the Mylar.
Right.
Well, if you do that, then historically this board has not done subject to, the secretary when he signs this understands what he's going to have to sign before it can be changed. So if we put that into the motion, we're going to have a subject to, and I prefer not to have that in there. The secretary knows it has to be signed, the change is made, and he can accept that responsibility.
So just for the record, you might just want to state your motion once more.
So we're going to then recommend approval of final plat of the Section 1 Waldron Business Park, including sheets 1 and 2 of lot 2 and 3.
I have a motion to accept the submittal of section 1, pages 1 and 2 for lots 2 and 3. Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Our next item of business is a site plan, Venture Express, requested by Huddleston Steel, proposed 27,000 square foot warehouse, 13.3 acres, property located at 131 Industrial Boulevard, tax map 17-0, Group B, parcel 5, I-2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District, property owned by Creative Strategic Investments, LP. Ms. Costanza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item had quite a number of technical items and other concerns as far as the owner. So they have asked to defer this item until February, which will give them more time to adequately address a plan moving forward as far as the overlay and some other substantial concerns.
Thank you. Number 14 is deferred. And number 15, bonds and letters of credit.
Mr. Chairman and board, everyone should have a bond list in front of them. Everything is up to date. I will be contacting the developer for Air Park subdivision, resub of lot 2. Other than that, everything is up to date.
Very good. I'd like to, at this time, thank and welcome our newest planning commissioner, Mr. Jim Anderson, for his time and effort to participate on this board. And thank you very much, sir. And I'd like to thank everyone else as well.
One question, Mr. Chairman. Do we organise our training?
I was hoping to discuss how February 20th would work for you guys. If it's not possible, we could do the 27th, which is the last Saturday in February. I was hoping to go for the 20th because I have a training session I'll be at for the last 3 days before the 27th. I mean, we could still do it if it doesn't work. I know that the week before the 20th is Valentine's Day, and you guys might be doing things that are more important or more fun. So, let me know about February 20th. I can certainly do the 27th if the 20th does not work. We generally aim for 8:30 to 12:30. So, if nobody has any major concerns, we can just go ahead and.
Check calendars and discuss at the workshop.
Okay,
Yeah?
sure.
Very good.
And
Anything
then,
else?
did you guys all get the email about the ethics form?
Yes, and
Okay.
that is due before the end of the month,
Yeah, it's
correct?
like it's the 31st, so.
Excellent. Make sure you get that. They will send you a letter. And with that being said, meeting is adjourned.